Good afternoon, everyone. So we have an exciting day today because we are going to deal on a topic which is very much interested for everyone. So we'll deal with this topics today. Yes. So have you gone through the topic place of supply? Because we had discussed in the previous session, right? Place of supply is very detailed and even 3 sessions are not enough for it. But we have 3 sessions for it. We will try to cover up things. But if you would have read it, it would have been really great because when we go to place of supply for services, there's so much detail. Of course, I will help you to sail through in terms of understanding. But if you can go through the session after today's class, then it will be more easier for you to understand the concepts. Because when you go to advertising services, it is very lengthy. So there's nothing to teach in there. That's only to learn. You will have to kind of just remember it. Hope after this session, you will go through that. I will let you know which are the pages. We just go to brief it, then you will clearly understand it. Okay. So last class, what we had completed on place of supply for goods. We had clearly understood it along with the FAQs. We understood various aspects of supply. What is the place of supply for goods? But now we'll go for place of supply for services. We had just started. We are just continuing that. Okay. There is a question which is shared by Hardik. Mr. A is having his permanent residence in Gujarat. Now he purchased a car from Kiara Motors of Jaipur to take the advantage of lower registration charges and road tax. Now Mr. A took the delivery of the car from Jaipur and returned with the car to his residence in Gujarat. Address of Mr. A is recorded in the invoice issued by Kiara Motors, mentions the name Gujarat and the person is unregistered. Okay, so what is the time of supply, right? So what is the time of supply in the case when the address is known? When the address is known, right? In case of goods, what did we discuss? For goods, will it matter if it is registered or unregistered? Where the supply involves movement of goods, the place of supply is the location of the goods at the time when the movement of goods terminates for delivery to the recipient. Now the goods are getting terminated. In your case, Hardik, it is getting terminated. It's getting ended when the key is given of the car to the customer in Jaipur itself. Now, whether he's registered or unregistered doesn't matter. The car company will treat it as an intrastate and charge CGST and SGST. Okay. So they will always charge CGST and SGST itself. Now, if it is registered or unregistered, doesn't matter. ओके एमटीपी 24 में क्या बोलता है वहां पे डज इट से इट इज अ आईजीएसटी ट्रांजैक्शन एंड व्हाट इज द बेसिस
Sir, good afternoon, sir.
गुड आफ्टरनून
Sir, this question, same to same question is from MTP 24. Sir, it is an OTC question, over the counter transaction. Sir, in this question, if the person is registered and is having the tax invoice in his hand, then the place of supply is the place where the person is registered,
ओके
irrespective of where he takes the goods. And sir, if the person is unregistered, then the place of supply is the same where he terminates.
करेक्ट सो इन दिस केस इट इज गेटिंग टर्मिनेटेड at जयपुर
Gujarat.
itself जयपुर
So
ना
he's
because the
taking back
person
the goods.
okay he is taking it on its own.
Yes, sir. If he is unregistered, then it is clear, sir. Where the goods are terminates, it is clear.
Hmm.
He is taking back it to Gujarat from
Hmm.
Jaipur, then it is clear. But sir, if he is registered and he's having the tax invoice and he knows his place of residence,
Hmm.
then sir, the answer is different.
Okay. But we'll have to see the logic for it because nowhere it is mentioning that if the person is registered or unregistered, especially for goods.
That's why, sir, I was getting confused in this area.
Hmm.
Because, sir, this was the same example which I asked from in the last class also.
Correct. Correct. Okay. I will just see that. It is there in the MTP, right? I will look into it. Let me see. Correct. We have similar question like this for supply of services, not for good. Yeah, in the definition of, I think it will be in the supply of service. Correct. It's only there for supply of service, not for goods. For goods, we will have to check. Again, it is there in September 2024 question paper. Okay. So, in September 2024, Hardik, then you will be able to see the suggested answer. So there you may get to know the reasoning then to better understand this. 10.1 CA can't be under 10.1 CA. You're creating a new section. Supplying involving movement of goods is the location of the good at the time of delivery to the recipient. This will not get covered under that because what the question is that it is okay. So it is a question of delivery. It is not a question where installation is required. Or it is not a question where movement is not required. Definitely movement is required. So that's where 10.1 C will not apply. Okay. So shall we go with supply of service? Of course, this question I will come back, but let's get into supply of services. So we understood thoroughly supply of goods. Now we'll get into supply of services. As we had discussed, what is the place of supply for services? Determining that is very difficult. So the rules are there to decide what is the place of supply for various kinds of services. We understood the definition of supplier of service, saying that if he is registered, then that will become his place. If he is not registered, then the any other fixed place of establishment. Now, fixed establishment, one thing we need to note is it could be even for a registered person that he is working, he is having a registered place of business, but he is working out from some other place. That becomes the fixed establishment elsewhere. So he can be having a establishment or a registration one place and fixed establishment elsewhere. Okay. So when supply is made from a fixed establishment, that location will become the location of the supplier. And if it is from more than one establishment, and if you're providing services of multiple establishment, that location which is more directly concerned with the provision of supply. And in absence of any such case, then it will become the usual place of residence. That will become the location of supplier, and also for the recipient, the location of the recipient. Okay. Then we went to section 12 to understand that when is it applicable. Section 12 is applicable where the location of the supplier and location of the recipient is in India. Then we have to come to section 12. If even one of them, location of the supplier or location of recipient, one of them is outside India, then we will not apply section 12. We will apply section 13. Now, when we have come to section 12, now we have to go to section 12 and see whether which sub rule we have to apply, because there are various sub rules for various types of services. We first go to 12.2, because after 12.1 has told that to decide the place of supply when the location of the supplier and location of the recipient is in India, then you have to go to section 12.2 to section 14. So after we have completed one, we'll go to section 12.2. Now 12.2 is again giving a direction. It is saying that are you following under any of the sub rules from rule 12.3 to 12.14? Okay, first decide that. Are you falling under any of these rules? Then go to that specific rule, because they are all specific rule and 12.2 is a general rule. So if specific rule does not apply, then you apply the general rule. Okay, so 12 सेक्शन 12 क्या बोलता है? सेक्शन 12 बोलता है कि टाइम ऑफ सप्लाई फॉर सर्विसेज क्या रहेगा. सो 12.1 बताता है कि जब सप्लायर ऑफ सर्विस और रिसिपिएंट ऑफ सर्विस दोनों इंडिया में है, तब सेक्शन 12 आपको अप्लीकेबल होगा. अगर 12 अप्लीकेबल हो गया है, आपने डिसाइड कर लिया है, तो फिर आप 12.2 के अंदर जाएंगे. 12.2 में जाएंगे तो 12.2 बोलता है कि मैं जनरल रूल हूं, मतलब 12.3 और 12.14, 12.3 से लेके 12.14 तक जो भी रूल्स हैं वो हो जाएंगे स्पेसिफिक रूल. तो वो स्पेसिफिक रूल्स में जाके देखिए आप, क्या आप उस कैटेगरी में फिट होते हैं. आपका टाइप ऑफ सर्विस 12.3 टू 12.14, ये जो रूल सब रूल्स है, 3, 12, सबसेक्शन 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, तो ये 9 रूल में आपका कुछ कैटेगरी अप्लाई होता है क्या? अगर वहां पे अप्लाई होता है तो फिर वो जो बताता है सब रूल वो फॉलो कीजिए. अगर वो रूल आपके लिए अप्लीकेबल नहीं है, तब जनरल रूल के अंदर आइए. तो आप जनरल रूल फर्स्ट अप्लाई नहीं कर सकते हो. ठीक है, ये सेक्शंस अरेंज ऐसे किए गए हैं, लेकिन आप 12.2 फर्स्ट नहीं जाओगे, 12.2 आपको लास्ट में जाना है. ठीक है, लेकिन 12.2 क्या बोलता है, फिर हम लास्ट में ही जाएंगे वरना फिर हम कंफ्यूज हो जाएंगे. तो फिर डायरेक्टली जाएंगे हम रूल 12.3 में. 12.3 जो बोलता है, सर्विस इन रिलेशन टू एन इमूवेबल प्रॉपर्टी और लॉजिंग अकोमोडेशन इन अ होटल, गेस्ट हाउस और अ बोट. ठीक है, दैट इज व्हाट rule 12.3 says. So now 12.3 will be applicable in case of any services relating to a immovable property. So if there is any immovable property, the place of supply for such immovable property will be location where that immovable property is located. Location, place of supply will be the location where that immovable property or that boat or that vessel is located. Now, if that immovable property is outside India and the supplier and recipient are in India, then we cannot say it's an export of service or it is outside India, because service provider is in India and service receiver is also in India. When both are in India and the property is outside India, the place of supply in that will be the location of the recipient. Okay, we understood that example, that if I have a property in US and I am doing some services in relation to that immovable property, okay, or I am charging rent in respect to that immovable property, what will be the place of supply? It will not be US. Okay, it will be, since you are in India, okay, I am also in India, provider is in India and receiver is in India. In that case, the place of supply will be where the recipient is located. Okay, it will be in India. In India, which state also you have to understand, right? because just saying India is not sufficient. Within India, if both are in the same state, then it will become an intra-state transaction. If the supplier and recipient are in different states, then it will be an interstate transaction. Okay, so the second situation is very critical because if the recipient is which state and the supplier is in which state, that is very important. India means citizen of India, yes, where the applicability is that not necessary the citizenship or anything like that, like how you have under income tax. If the location of supplier, like how we had understood the definition, like a foreigner is coming to India and has taken a GST registration, then in that case, that registration where he is registered, that will be considered as the location of the supplier. So what have they said? Where the location of immovable property is located, that is important, not the residential status. We are not concerned with residential status here. We are concerned whether the property is in India and if any services is provided by a person who is registered or a person who is not registered, then his usual place of business. If the usual place of business is in India, then the supplier is in India. Now, if the recipient is a foreigner and he's normally staying here, okay, then here the state where he's registered or where he is normally residing, that will become the place of the recipient. Okay. So, any case of supply of services being an immovable property for lodging, accommodation, what all services are covered? Services relating to immovable property or lodging accommodation in a hotel. So, normal hotels we know, but boats and vessels also. Boats and vessels keep going from one place to another place. Yes, they go, but still they have one anchor point or a start point. That is their place or accommodation in an immobile property for social, business, religious, or cultural functions. It could be any kind of a thing. What is the place of supply then? Okay. So if it is in India, the place of supply will be the location of that such immobile property where it is located. If the location of that immobile property or a ship is outside India and but the company who's owning it is in India. Okay. Like in Dubai, there is a ship, but the owner of the ship is Shah Rukh Khan. Shah Rukh Khan holds a yacht in Dubai. Now, you, for your marriage, you want to use that yacht. So you meet Shah Rukh Khan saying that I want to use your yacht. Say you're lucky enough and you've got it. Okay. So in that case, what will be the place of supply? Will it be Dubai or India? In India. Correct. Everybody is saying in India. So in India, if you're saying Mahi, Hasi, Pranav, Ashutosh, in India is correct. लेकिन हमको जीएसटी कौन सा लगाना है? What will Shah Rukh Khan charge you? Will he charge you CGST, SGST or IGST? Place of supply, IGST. Location of the recipient is required. Correct. You cannot just say IGST. What if you are in Mumbai itself? If both are in Mumbai, Shah Rukh Khan is in Mumbai, you are also in Mumbai, then will he charge IGST? Correct. In that case, he will charge CGST and SGST. So don't straight away give the answers. You have to get the facts correctly. If the recipient is in the same state, then CGST and SGST. If the recipient is in separate state, different state, then IGST. So wherever is the location of the recipient, that will become the place of supply. If Shahrukh Khan in our state, then CGST. In SCK is in different state, then IGST. Correct. Correct. ठीक है. Next, what all services will get covered? That is also defined here. The law has told that, okay, this I've told you. Now we'll give you some more clarity. What is the law saying? Any services directly in relation to immobile property. Okay. What are those services which is related to immobile property? वो भी उन्होंने कह दिया है. दैट आप किसी आर्किटेक्चर का सर्विस ले रहे हो, इंटीरियर डेकोरेटर का सर्विस ले रहे हो, एनी सर्वेयर सर्विसेज आर देयर, एंड इन केस ऑफ एनी काइंड ऑफ इंजीनियर सर्विसेज देयर, रियल एस्टेट, जो रियल एस्टेट ब्रोकर होते हैं, रियल एस्टेट एजेंट्स, all that services will be decided based on where that immobile property is located. What is the place of supply in case of a boat which comes from one state to another state in India? It will be the place where that boat is registered. Because boat का हम जैसे टू व्हीलर का लाइसेंस होता है, फोर व्हीलर का लाइसेंस होता है, that also similarly boat cannot float in from one state to another state. It will have to get registered in one state. Float करके आ सकता है, लेकिन वहीं पे नहीं रह सकता है. It has to travel to the tourist visit spot and come back to its a place where it is registered. Correct? So that will become the place of that boat. Recipient and goods both outside India में है, तब तब वीरेंद्र हमको सेक्शन 12 के अंदर जाना ही नहीं है. 12 के अंदर we have to go only when the location of the supplier and location of the recipient is in India. I will come back to section 12 to emphasize this point कि आपको 12 सेक्शन कब आना है, where the place of services, deciding section 12 is to decide the place of supply of services where the location of supplier and receiver is in India, or location of supplier and location of receiver, we have already seen the definition. So when this location of supplier and recipient is in India, only then you will go to come inside this section 12. Okay, there's some weird questions were coming in wherein they're saying that okay, if Shah Rukh Khan didn't get registration, he used that yacht for personal purposes. Okay, I asked, he accepted to allow me for rent of 1 day at 2 lakh rupees. In that case, on unregistered, how will you identify the state he belongs? Let's assume SRK has houses in multiple states. So firstly, he is in Mumbai, and if you are taking a boat from him, okay, then it will become the क्या हुआ अपना rule? It will become the place of location of the recipient. Location of the recipient का definition हमने देख लिया है ना? What do you think? Who's asked this question? Praveen. Yeah, Praveen. In the case of कि आपने registration नहीं लिया, if you are unregistered, then what do you think will be the place of supply? What if, yes. So in that case will be the usual place of residence. That will become the place of supply. Very good. So today's class is very active. You have all read, understood clearly, और बहुत अच्छी तरह से पढ़ रहे हो आप. You're responding very well. Good. But what if the recipient has multiple? What is your question? If the recipient has multiple houses, if he has multiple houses, what is his usual place? हर जगह तो वो एक दिन यहाँ पे, एक दिन नॉर्थ, एक दिन ईस्ट, एक दिन वेस्ट, ऐसा तो नहीं रहेगा. सेइंग दैट आउट ऑफ दिस 365 days एग्जैक्टली सब जगह पे रहेगा. ही विल हैव वन रेसिडेंशियल प्लेस. इवन दो SRK has house in Dubai, in Mumbai, he may be having in Bangalore. Does he come to Bangalore regularly? No, he will come only for his work related thing. So his usual place of business will be Mannat in Mumbai. So that will be the usual place of business. Okay. Can't be that if he has multiple places, he will stay in every place. He will stay at one place and other things, he may use it for other purposes. No, any services directly in relation to that immobile property, estate agent, architect, interior decorators. And what other services will get covered? Any granting of rights. You're getting a right to use an immobile property to carry out or any kind of coordination for construction work. That is, you're giving them a right for which you're getting a consideration. Then also the place of supply will be where that immovable property is located. Then lodging and accommodation services. When you go to a hotel, you go to a resort, you go and stay somewhere. The place of supply will be where that hotel or guest house is located always. Next, what happens in case of accommodation in an immobile property? Any accommodation in an immobile property is there. For what purposes? For organizing any kind of a marriage or reception. Any kind of a marriage or reception or any personal celebration you have, or kind of official, social, or cultural organizing event, or including services provided in relation to such function at such property. When I say FN in English, in maths, we use FN for function, right? So the same thing I've used here. Any official, social, cultural, religious, or business function, or including services provided in relation to such function at such property. So it does not restrict to accommodation services. It includes, along with accommodation, if say you're staying in somewhere and you're buying food, then the place of supply for that food will be what is the place of supply for that accommodation service itself. Okay. So when you generally see that accommodation is provided, any services, including in relation to such immovable property, will also be where that immovable property is located. And then we know these are the services which are directly related, and then any services ancillary to the services referred to in the above clauses, that will also be where the immovable property is located. So 12.2 is given so much clarity that we can identify what all services will also get covered. So does there any section to identify what is the real time who will decide it? I didn't understand your question, Praveen. What is the real time you're talking about? Okay, so we understood the place of supply for services in relation to an immobile property. Now, let's take an example. Now you are building up a house. Okay, you have built a house and now you want to give it on rent. You have put it on newspapers, you have put it on classifieds. You did not find any buyer. Nobody came to you. Now you meet up a agent. Okay. Now this agent for your house, which is not being sold, it means it's a very lavish house, correct? So for this house, you have to find a broker. Now the broker finds somebody, okay, who is in India itself, because if he is outside India, then it become different. So you find somebody, he finds somebody, the agent sees in India, he doesn't find, and then he finds a person from US who is coming to India for stay of 3 months. He finds your house. So now this, you are in Bangalore. The house what I'm selling, giving for rent is in Bangalore. This agent is in Mumbai. Okay. And the customer who will buy it is outside India. So in this scenario, what will be the place of supply? So property in USA, then place of supply is location of the supplier, register or recipient. So if it is in outside India, right? When you have said that if the immovable property is outside India, then place of supply will be the location of the recipient. Okay. Clear, Kiran Mishra? Regarding the place of residence of recipient who has multiple houses, does there be any section to identify this in real time? There's nothing like that in the GST law. where the property is located. So don't give me generic answer like that. Give me full answer where the property is located and the specific place also you have to mention. CA students, you can't give. That's where most of the exams we think that we have written very well, but we don't score. Why? Because we have given half-baked answer. We have just told where the location of the supplier or the location of the house is there. But where it is there, that also you have to clearly mention. Because whether you have understood the question correctly or no, whether you have understood the facts mentioned in the question or no is very important. What's the meaning of FN, Kasak? I had told that FN means function, where a function is hold. That is the FN is the short form for function. Location of the house in India because recipient is outside India. Correct. So, what is the nature of service we had asked for? What service? The service you have to identify. Firstly, we are talking about the service of the agent. Now, that agent is in Ahmedabad or Delhi, what I said, but the location of the property is in Bangalore. So if he has to charge me GST, he will charge me considering this as an interstate transaction because he is located outside the state, but the property is located in a different state. So he will charge me IGST itself. Okay. So we understood place of supply will be the where the property is located in case of an agent also. Then grant of rights, lodging accommodation, definitely where that house is or the house road is located. Then in case of any accommodation in immovable property for organizing any kind of event, then also in relation to such property, it become 1,500. Be the location where the immobile property is located. Now moving to the next service. Sir, what if the property is registered in more than one state? See, our questions should be very smart. We can't, it's not possible that you have a property and you registered in more than one state. How can you register a property which is in one state in more than one state? Firstly, you cannot register a property which is in your state with another state. That itself is not property because the property registration is a matter of state subject. So the state which is having the property, that will be the place where you have to register. You cannot go and register the property what your Bangalore bought in Bangalore in Delhi. Not possible. You will have to register within the vicinity of the Karnataka region itself. You cannot go anywhere outside. So you cannot have a property registered in more than one state as well. So what we have told now, services in relation to immovable property still 12.3, that instances when immovable property is located in more than one state, then the place of supply will be in proportion to the value of the service rendered in those states. Which means what if you are taking a hotel, okay, and you're saying to the hotel fellow that I'll be doing series of travel, so I will pay you a lump sum amount, but I will pay a fixed monthly charge. Saying a Taj group of hotels, you have an agreement, and they have told them that wherever I'm moving from Bangalore and Tamil Nadu, wherever is your hotel, I'll go and stay there. Said okay. So when it comes to billing, he's getting confused that what should be the place of supply because supply is provided from two different states. And for immobile property, the place of supply will be where the property is located. So in case of such situation, it will be proportion to the value for the service determined in terms of the contract or the agreement. So where the immovable property is located, proportion of that. And what happens in case of a contract, then we have to go to rule 4 to find out the apportionment. When the immovable property is located outside India, okay, which is provided for rent to me, but the supplier is unregistered. So it will not affect the place of supply, and it will be the location of the recipient who is also unregistered. Correct. So if the recipient is unregistered, when the immovable property is located outside India, which is provided for rent to me, but the supplier is unregistered. Okay, if the supplier is unregistered, then he will not charge GST itself, right? Provided if you are paying under reverse charge, then you have to decide the place of supply. Okay, if you are paying under reverse charge, because now we know that residential property was not there under GST, but residential property has brought under GST that if you are taking any residential property on which you have to pay under RCM, if you are registered, you have to pay under RCM. So since this, they couldn't trap it. That's the reason these changes have been made. If the supplier is unregistered, properties outside India, supplier will not pay any GST, correct? Because he is not registered. But if the recipient has to pay under reverse charge, and then he will see the place of supply. Place of supply for a property which is outside India will be the location where the recipient is located. So that will be the place of supply. And if there is no specific contract for apportionment or bifurcation, then it will be as per the rule 4 of the IGST rules. If property, Kiran is asking, if property is located outside India and supply and receiver both are in India, place of supply is the location of the recipient. Correct. Okay. So now I think everybody is thoroughly understood in terms of an immobile property. Now, in terms of this rule 4, what we have said, what will happen? Rule 4 says that, boss, if you are providing lodging in a property which is located in multiple states, then one property is there and you're having it is located in multiple states, then number of nights stayed in such property. Okay, if you can apportionment in value, fine, but generally you cannot apportion in terms of value. So you can apportion in terms of stay in the night. So if you're staying in a hotel which has multiple places, right? Like Tamil Nadu, Bangalore, you have multiple properties and there is one property, there is one company which is giving that. So number of nights I stay, that will determine the place of supply. And accommodation in an immobile property for organizing events or lodging where property is located in two contiguous states. मतलब एक border है लेकिन states दो है. So both states are in the border. So both the states are fighting that this is my place of supply, this is my place of supply. So the government is saying that how much is the area of your resort or your vacation house which is in terms of square feet in this state 100, in the other state 50. So then based on that area of immobile property, the GST will be divided. Okay. Then if there is any service of lodging in a house, boat or vessel where the time spent on the vessel in each state, जैसे एक vessel है आप सो गए हो और यहाँ पे एक स्टेट से दूसरे स्टेट चला गया है वो. Now, what is the place of supply? It will be one night you have spent here. This is the place of supply for this one night stay. Another 3 days you're spending in another state, then the place of supply will be to that state. What does mean by lodging, sir? लॉड्जिंग का मतलब होता है जहां पे हम जाके होटल मोटल में स्टे करते हैं, उसे कहते हैं लॉड्जिंग। स्टडी मटेरियल पेज नंबर 31 एग्जाम्पल 13। पेज नंबर 31 एग्जाम्पल 13। पेज नंबर 31 तो मिल नहीं रहा है। Unfortunately, in the ebook, there is no page number, but you are asking, which is your question, dear Shruti Kumari? श्रुति कुमारी, कौन सा एग्जाम्पल है आपका? थर्टीन। ओके। गोलूराम। Goluram is a consulting engineer. Okay. ये वाला क्वेश्चन है 13। Goluram is a consulting engineer based in Mumbai, Maharashtra. Now this person raises, Goluram renders professional services in respect to of an immobile property of whom? Of a Bolaram of Bangalore. Okay. Goluram is an engineer from Mumbai. He renders professional services in respect of an immobile property of Bolaram of Bangalore, who is located in Australia. Since the immobile property, is located outside India, okay, Goluram, consulting engineer based in Mumbai, renders professional services in respect of immobile property of Bolaram of Bangalore, which is located in Australia. Since the immobile property is located outside India, place of supply of service is the location of the recipient and not the place where the immobile property is located. Correct? तो हमने वही कहा था ना, प्लेस ऑफ सप्लाई अगर इंडिया में है देन द लोकेशन ऑफ इमोल प्रॉपर्टी, लेकिन अगर इमोल प्रॉपर्टी ही आउटसाइड इंडिया है देन द लोकेशन ऑफ रिसिपिएंट विल बी द प्लेस ऑफ सप्लाई। ओके। Anybody else having any doubts till now in respect of removed property? Nothing, right? It's clear. So now let's go back to our regular slide. And the bifurcation will happen in this manner, which we know that if it is mostly number of nights, then number of nights के basis पे ही you will pay the GST.
Sir,
हाँ,
in a declaration made by service provider means
डिक्लेरेशन मेड बाय सर्विस प्रोवाइडर मतलब जो सर्विस प्रोवाइड कर रहा है लॉजिंग वाला या बोट, ठीक है, हाउस बोट वाला या वेजल वाला आपको बिल देगा, उसके साथ वो डिक्लेरेशन देगा कि कितनी कितना टाइम कौन से स्टेट में स्पेंड किया गया है, क्योंकि हमको पता नहीं चलेगा। सिर्फ वो ही जब नाव चलाते हैं, जब बोट को आप वो चलाते हैं, जो मेन एंकर रहता है उसको पता होगा कि कितना टाइम कौन से स्टेट में स्पेंड किया है। तो उसके डिक्लेरेशन के बेसिस पे हम प्लेस ऑफ सप्लाई डिसाइड करेंगे।
सर, इन दिस टू स्टेट इन वन बॉर्डर, तो सर अगर एक प्लेस ऑफ सप्लाई है, तो सर इसके अंदर दोनों के बीच में इक्वली डिवाइड कर देंगे, मतलब
इक्वली
कि
नहीं
जो
करेंगे
भी।
ना। एक का
तो
प्रॉपर्टी है इतना 400 स्क्वायर फीट, ठीक
यस
है।
सर।
चार
यस
सौ
सर।
नहीं, 4000 स्क्वायर फीट, 400 में तो क्या होगा, 4000 स्क्वायर फीट है। वो बॉर्डर में है, और
यस सर।
बॉर्डर के लेफ्ट साइड में एक स्टेट है, राइट साइड में दूसरा स्टेट है। लेफ्ट साइड में बिहार है, राइट साइड में झारखंड रख दें, आजू बाजू
हाँ।
में ना।
यस
तो
सर।
बिहार बिहार में उस प्रॉपर्टी का है 1000 स्क्वायर फीट एरिया, और झारखंड का है 3000 स्क्वायर फीट का एरिया। तो फिर आप झारखंड वाले को बोलोगे आधा आधा ले लो, तो वो नहीं मानेगा। वो बोलेगा नहीं, आपकी प्रॉपर्टी तो है मेजरली मेरे स्टेट में, तो फिर
यस
मैं
सर।
क्यों कम जीएसटी लूं। आप उस पूरे प्रॉपर्टी में स्टे नहीं करेंगे, आपकी तो होटल बीच में कहीं पे रहेगी, लेकिन उसको ड्रॉ कौन करेगा कौन सी स्टेट में, क्योंकि ये प्रॉपर्टी जो है दोनों स्टेट के इर्द गिर्द दोनों स्टेट को लगती है। तो उस केसेस में जहां पर 3000 स्क्वायर फीट है, आप जो भाड़ा भरेंगे, रेंट पे करेंगे उस अकोमोडेशन के लिए, उस स्टे के लिए 5-10 हजार रुपये आप पे करोगे, तो फिर उसमें क्या होगा, 3/4 मतलब 3/4 विल गो टू झारखंड, और 1/4 एक चौथाई बिहार को जाएगा। सो प्लेस ऑफ सप्लाई, वो जो सर्विस प्रोवाइड करता है उसको ऐसा लिखना पड़ेगा, प्लेस ऑफ सप्लाई फॉर दिस इज बिहार, प्लेस ऑफ सप्लाई ऑफ 3/4 इज फॉर झारखंड।
ओके सर, मतलब कि सर जो 3/4, मतलब 3,000 जो स्क्वायर फीट है वो झारखंड का था, इसलिए हमने उसको 3/4 पे किया। और 1/4 जो कि बिहार का था, 1,000 स्क्वायर फीट, इसलिए उनको हमने 1/4 हिस्सा दिया है।
करेक्ट, करेक्ट।
ओके सर, क्लियर हो गया।
Hardik Marwa, clarification. If sir, boat vessel is moving from one state to another state, then 12.3, and if boat is fixed in location of the immovable property. 12.3 itself is location of immobile property, my friend. There is nothing different over here. 12.2, of course, immobile property. 12.3, we are still in 12.3, right? 12.3 itself, immobile property itself. This slide, location of such immobile property, boat or vessel, that will become the place of supply. Correct, correct. So if the boat is moving from one place to another place, then it is right. Time spent in the vessel. And if it is in one state, then where that port is located. You're right. So in case of number of nights stayed in the property, will the questionnaire will give the number of days, or question will contain check-in and check-out time and dates to determine. They'll give complicated if they want to check whether you are able to check the number of nights, then they'll give you check-in and check-out dates. If they don't want to check whether you are knowing the check-in or check-out date, then it will be they will give the number of days. You will have to decide the proportion. Either ways, question can come, Praveen. Okay. So lot has been discussed in terms of 12.3. Now let's move forward for next type of service. 12.3 is specifically for immobile property. Now 12.4 is in respect of restaurant and catering services, personal grooming services, fitness services, beauty and healthcare services. So what happens in these cases? The place of supply of restaurant and catering services, personal grooming, fitness, beauty treatment, health services, including cosmetic and plastic surgery, wherever person is required. These are all called as in-person services. in-person services, the place of supply will be the location where the services are actually performed. So 12.3 is immobile property, 12.4 is in-person services. So if you have to do a fitness, right, a fitness expert services you are taking in. So if that person comes to your place and performs the service, then your place will become the place of supply. But if you are going to his place, then his place becomes the place of supply, because where the services are actually performed, that is the place of supply. Okay, clear with this? It also applies for a restaurant or catering services. So wherever catering is happening, a restaurant is serving something, then where you go and consume the food, where the restaurant is located, that will become the place of supply. In case if I check on 22nd October 5 p.m. and check out on 24th midnight 1 p.m., how many days is considered? Whether 22, 23, 24, 3 days, or 22, 23, 2 days are considered. So how does the hotel charge? Hotel says that if you have checked in and you moved out in the midnight, still I will charge fully. Correct? Then he's charging for that night. So 22nd, 23rd, 24th. If he's charging for that night, then whether you stay or don't stay, that doesn't matter, because that has been that since you have stayed there till 1 p.m., it will be treated as you have stayed, because the charge is basis that you are staying here till 1 p.m. Now, after that, if you have gone out, still that place only will be considered. Sir, check-in time means we are in hotel and that date will be included, and checkout date will also be included in that time period. So it depends on the hotel. Some people have a check-in time at 3 o'clock, checkout at 12 o'clock, mostly afternoon times. So that night, what you're staying, that will have to be considered. Makeup artist is in Delhi. Service performed in Mumbai to actress located in Delhi for performance in Mumbai. Oops. Mumbai artist, makeup artist is in Delhi. Service performed in Mumbai to actress who is located in Delhi, right? Where is the performance happening? It is happening in Mumbai. So the place of supply is Mumbai itself. Hospital services. Hospital services is very tricky. Yeah, hospital services can come under 12.4, or it can come under 12.3 also, because immovable property related service, no? So where that hospital is located, but of course, uh, actual performance is required, and health services. So they specifically said health services. So health services will come under 12.4 itself. Health services will come under 12.4. So in rule 4, mention number of nights. What if the person check in at 8 a.m., left the hotel at 5 p.m. on the same day? He stayed one day in that case. So in that case, there is no problem itself, no, Praveen, where they are charging for single property. He is not staying at night. Then that is the place. The rule 4 comes into our rescue when there is multiple stay and you have multiple payments. Here, so you are paying only one day, so, and you're not going to any other place. So then which room where you are staying for the day, that will be the place of supply. So rule 4 is not to confuse you, but to give you clarification that if you're staying in multiple places, then you have to bifurcate that basis. Assume that multiple stay. It's just a day transaction. Generally ऐसा नहीं होता है. Generally ऐसा नहीं होता है. If it is multiple places, but then in a day, then you will generally have privity of contract with one hotel itself, saying that I will pay you over there. It can't be that 1 hour you're staying in this hotel, 1 hour in another state. You can't travel also, no, so fast. So you have to be really practical, not that any theoretical question we can ask. To see the practical challenge itself, such circular comes. Okay. So restaurant services where it is actually performed. Then training and performance appraisal services. Training or performance appraisal. 12.4 we saw where the services are actually performed. Now, training and performance based appraisal. Generally training किसको देते हैं? Training किसी employees को देते हैं. Corporates give training to its employees. किसी expert trainer को बुलाएंगे. Right? So it is generally given, or it could be given to students also. So when it is to students who are not registered, then it is B2C. If it is to a company, then it is B2B. So service, who is the service recipient? You have to understand. In case of I am a corporate trainer, I provide training to the employees, right? Who will enter into a contract with me? First question. Second question, who is the service receiver? Question again. In case of a corporate trainer, Kiran Mishra, I provide training to the employees. So I have two questions. Who is providing me the contract, and who is the service receiver? A lot of answers here. Service receiver is the company, and who hire the corporate trainer, and service provider is the corporate trainer. Correct. In case employee contract with the trainer, corporate trainer is corporate entity, service receiver employee. So what happens generally is employees do not approach anybody because employees will not spend. तो एम्प्लॉयज तो कुछ पे नहीं करेंगे. कंपनी ही चाहती है कि उनके एम्प्लॉयज का नॉलेज ग्रो हो, तो कंपनी ही पे करती है और कंपनी ही कॉन्ट्रैक्ट एंटर करती है किसके साथ? अपने कॉर्पोरेट ट्रेनर के साथ. तो सर्विस एक्चुअल में कंज्यूम कर रहे हैं एम्प्लॉयज, लेकिन सर्विस रिसीवर एम्प्लॉयज नहीं रहेंगे. वाई वाई डू यू थिंक सर्विस रिसीवर आर नॉट द कंपनी? प्रोवाइडर इज कॉर्पोरेट ट्रेनर. करेक्ट. तो सर्विस रिसीवर कौन है भैया? फ्यू आर सेइंग कंपनी. यस, जिन्होंने कंपनी कह दिया है आप समझ गए हो, क्योंकि अल्टीमेटली सर्विस प्रोवाइड होता है कंपनी को ही. एंड द डेफिनेशन ऑफ सर्विस रिसीवर ऑल्सो सेज द पर्सन हु पेज द कंसिडरेशन. ये हमने डेफिनेशन ऑलरेडी देखा है ना. द पर्सन हु इज पेइंग द कंसिडरेशन इज द रिसीवर. तो इस केस में आई विल एंटर इनटू अ कॉन्ट्रैक्ट विद द कंपनी. कंपनी विल टेल मी भाई आपको इनका कॉर्पोरेट ट्रेनिंग लेना है. So we will enter on the course, we will decide what has to be taught, and company will consent. Okay? So when the company gives the consent and they are the person who are paying the consideration, the service receiver is the company and provider is the corporate trainer. करेक्ट बिकॉज अल्टीमेटली बेनिफिट किसको जाएगा एम्प्लॉय सीखेगा तो फिर बेनिफिट वो प्रॉफिट सेल्स ज्यादा करेगा बेनिफिट किसको मिलेगा कंपनी को ही मिलेगा करेक्ट सो when the company is the one who is paying for this then company is the recipient first we understood that अभी ये देखिए the place of supply of services in relation to training and performance appraisal depends on whether the supply is B2B or B2C. Now, if the receiver who is receiving this contract, if that person is registered, then it's a B2B transaction. If that person is unregistered, then it is a B2C transaction. Clear? Now, having understood that, if it is a B2B supply, then place of supply is the location of such person. Which person? Receiver ka person. If I am providing services, I am from Bangalore. I am providing services to Tata Consultancy Services, which is located in Mumbai. Okay. So if I am providing to Tata Consultancy Services, who is located in Mumbai, location of provider is in Bangalore, the place of supply is, as per this B2B supply hai to place of supply will be location of such person, which is the Mumbai. So it will be a IGST transaction. If it is B2C supply, then the place of supply is the place where the service is actually performed. जहां पे परफॉर्म होगा वो हो जाएगा place of supply. Understood? Very clear with this? तो फिर मैं एक एग्जांपल देता हूं. Yes, yes. Now let's take an example. इसको थोड़ा बंद कर देते हैं, बारिश भी आ रही है. Okay. So what will be, I am providing a training. Okay. So let us take both first scenarios. Then we'll see what happens in a B2B transaction and what happens in a B2C transaction. I am a corporate trainer. I provide training to a company. Same Tata Consultancy Services. अब facts में क्या changes हैं? I am a provider. Company is in Mumbai. ठीक है. अब मैं ट्रेनिंग क्या है मुंबई में नहीं देना चाहता हूं. आई विल गिव सम ऑफ साइट स्पेशल लोकेशन और मैं बोलता हूं सभी एम्प्लॉयज को अब गोवा बुला लीजिए, हम गोवा में ट्रेनिंग करेंगे ताकि ट्रेनिंग इफेक्टिव हो. ओके. नाउ इन दिस केस if I'm providing to TCS who is in Mumbai registered under GST, what is the place of supply? Second, if I'm providing to a Zadiullah Private Limited, it's a private limited company but not registered under GST, then what is the place of supply? दोनों केस में मुंबई भावनगर. ओके. First case Mumbai, second case Goa is what is the majority acts that I'm getting. Case 2 again tell. Second case में क्या हुआ that the company is not registered in Mumbai, या फिर वो GST registered ही नहीं है. Then what is the place of supply? Manvi got the question? Correct, correct, Shibu. Second case is B2C. You're right. Second case is B2C. So in B2C, what is the place of supply? Correct. So everybody is given a correct answer that, see, the place actually where I'm performing is to be seen when, in case of healthcare services, beauty services, such services will be where it is actually provided. Okay. But in case of this corporate training, because the service categorically says that when it is corporate training, then it is, if it is to a registered person, अगर आप गोवा में भी ट्रेनिंग देते हो तो फिर बेनिफिट कंपनी को मिलता है, तो प्लेस ऑफ सप्लाई विल बी वेयर द कंपनी इज registered. But if you provide to a unregistered person, then the benefit should go where you are providing the service, which is Goa. Okay, got it? Very clear. What about online classes? Online classes में आप बताइए. Good example. If the same services, instead of I told Goa, they said Mumbai, दोनों का बात नहीं बना. We said okay, don't worry boss, training तो हम देंगे ही. आप ऑनलाइन ट्रेनिंग ले लीजिए. हमारी सीए स्टूडेंट्स भी वो बिडो बीओएस पोर्टल से ऑनलाइन लेते हैं, बहुत अच्छे मार्क्स आते हैं, आप भी ऑनलाइन ले लीजिए. दे अग्रीड. तो इन दैट केस व्हाट विल बी द प्लेस ऑफ सप्लाई? बोथ केसेस प्रणव, बी टू बी में बताइए और बी टू सी दोनों में बताइए. सेम फैक्ट्स रिमेन्स. टीसीएस को मैं तब देता हूँ ऑनलाइन ट्रेनिंग, और दूसरी कंपनी जो मुंबई में रजिस्टर्ड है उसको देता हूँ, तब क्या होगा? सेम आंसर. ओके. बी टू बी मुंबई करेक्ट. बी टू सी में करेक्ट. तो इसका कुछ क्लैरिफिकेशन जीएसटी डिपार्टमेंट में कुछ इश्यू नहीं हुआ है. सो इन केस ऑफ फर्स्ट, डेफिनेटली इवन इफ इट इज ऑनलाइन, इट इज द बेनिफिट जो रिसिपेंट को मिलेगा. इन सेकेंड इंस्टेंस ऑल्सो आई वुड से इट विल स्टिल बी मुंबई, बिकॉज इफ इट इज एक्चुअली कहाँ पे परफॉर्म हुआ है वी कैन नॉट डिटरमाइन. करेक्ट, क्लाउड में ही हो रहा है, ऑनलाइन में हो रहा है. So in second also we can say it is Mumbai because it can't be my place. Correct? Because ये intra-state supply तो नहीं हो सकता है. So second case also I would say it is an interstate supply itself. Okay. Now another thing. Same TCS को ही कंटिन्यू करते हैं फैक्ट्स, लेकिन अभी मैं ट्रेनिंग नहीं दे रहा हूं. दैट इन दिस केस आई एम गिविंग अ पर्सनल ग्रूमिंग सर्विस टू द डायरेक्टर ऑफ टीसीएस. टीसीएस का डायरेक्टर ने बोला आपने मेरे एम्प्लॉयज के लिए तो ट्रेनिंग ले लिया, ठीक है, अब मुझे पर्सनल ग्रूमिंग सर्विसेज चाहिए. जब आपने गोवा बुलाया था ना, वहां पे ही मैंने लिया था. तो फिर वो जो डायरेक्टर ट्रेनिंग के लिए आया है वो पर्सनल ग्रूमिंग सर्विस ले रहा है, देन व्हाट विल बी द प्लेस ऑफ सप्लाई? करेक्ट. बी टू बी में हो जाएगा बी टू सी में. सो बी टू बी एवरीबडी इज सेइंग गोवा. इन केस ऑफ बी टू सी, करेक्ट मानवी, तिशा, व्हाट डू यू थिंक? Nobody is raising their hand. पर्सनल ग्रोमिंग तो 12/4 हुआ. हाँ भैया, मैं तो 12/4 ही बोल रहा हूँ. 12/4 में ही, मैं थोड़े बोल रहा हूँ कि आपको 12/5 में ही डालना. मैंने तो सिर्फ फैक्ट्स बताया है, आपको सेक्शन यूज करके आंसर देना है. Mumbai. Apurva is saying Mumbai because the director will ultimately work for TCS. Okay. नहीं, ऐसा नहीं होगा. Like everybody is answered correctly. 12.4 has nothing to do with B2B and B2C. It will be where the service is actually provided. तो अगर वो TCS में बेनिफिट भी मिलेगा, फिर भी 12.4 में वो B2B और B2C का बाइफर्केशन नहीं किया गया है. 12.4 में क्या बता दिया कि एक्चुअली वेयर द सर्विस इज प्रोवाइडेड. तो सर्विस गोवा में प्रोवाइड कर दिया है, तो प्लेस ऑफ सप्लाई विल बी गोवा इटसेल्फ. ठीक है. Not where the director is situated, where the service is performed. That is be the place of supply, Manoj. Clear? So that's how you have to set examples and distinguish. क्योंकि एक तो सर्विसेज ऐसे रहेंगे जो आपको लगेंगे कि सिमिलर है, लेकिन नेचर ऑफ सर्विस डिफरेंट है. इट विल बी क्लोज बट इट विल नॉट बी सेम. ठीक है. Now next going to services by way of admission to events or amusement park. जब आप एंट्री लेते हो किसी amusement park, sports club, कुछ educational institution, then what is the place of supply? The services place of supply of all the following services. कौन से services हैं? Services provided by way of admission to any cultural, sports or educational, scientific, entertainment or artistic event. कुछ भी हो. ठीक है. ये कुछ भी हो सकता है. Or services by way of admission to amusement park or any other place, or services ancillary to the above mentioned services. For all of this, the place of supply will be where the event is actually held. जहां पर event actually conduct हो रहा है, that will become the place of supply. So where the event is actually held or where the park or such other place is located, that is the place of supply. क्लियर है? इस पे कोई डाउट्स नहीं हो सकता है. Okay, so 12.6 is services by way of admission to events or amusement parks. Then 12.7. Organizing of events. 12.6 में हमने क्या कहा? Entry to the events. Now we are going into organizing of events. यहाँ पे क्या होगा? Where the recipient is registered. It's not B2B or B2C. Of course, recipient registered है तो B2B हो गया. B2B हो गया. Where the recipient is registered, then again location of the recipient. If organizing of event is in India or outside India, so अगर recipient registered है, आप कहाँ पर भी event करो, wherever is the location of the recipient, that is the place of supply. But if the recipient is unregistered और event India में है, then the location where the event is held. If it is to a recipient who is unregistered and event is outside India, then the location of the recipient. समझे? अल्टीमेटली गवर्नमेंट को टैक्स चाहिए, तो गवर्नमेंट ने कहा कि इफ रिसिपिएंट इज रजिस्टर्ड तो उसको क्रेडिट दे दो. आप इवेंट आउटसाइड भी करो चलेगा. ठीक है. लेकिन प्लेस ऑफ सप्लाई विल बी द लोकेशन ऑफ द रिसिपिएंट. नाउ अगर रिसिपिएंट अनरजिस्टर्ड है और इवेंट आप इंडिया में कर रहे हो, तो टैक्स तो इंडिया को जाना चाहिए. जाएगा, बिकॉज द प्लेस ऑफ सप्लाई इज वेयर द इवेंट इज हेल्ड. नाउ अगर इवेंट आउटसाइड इंडिया हो गया तो फिर क्या आप उसके ऊपर जीएसटी नहीं पे करोगे? इसलिए उन्होंने कहा कि अगर इवेंट आउटसाइड इंडिया है, देन द लोकेशन ऑफ रिसिपिएंट इज द प्लेस ऑफ सप्लाई. क्लियर? If event is held in more than one state, then if it is to a registered person, POS will always be the location of recipient. But if it is to an unregistered person, क्या करेंगे? Place of supply is deemed to be in each of the respective state or union territories where the value of the service determined is mentioned in the contract. Okay, whatever is mentioned in the contract, that will be the place of supply. अगर कॉन्ट्रैक्ट नहीं है तो फिर रूल 5 विच सेज दैट जनरली एक्सेप्टेड अकाउंटिंग प्रिंसिपल्स आप कौन से स्टेट में प्रोवाइड करोगे वो हो जाएगा प्लेस ऑफ सप्लाई. Unregistered like rule 3, correct. Rule 5, right. Admission event हो गया. अब organizing an event. If you're organizing an event, assigning of sponsorship to such events, then place of supply will be to a registered person, B2B where he is located. If it is unregistered, then India में है तो फिर where the location is, where the event is held. In other cases, location of the recipient. Okay, we'll take a break of 10 minutes here before we go to the next round of place of supply of services. So there's a question on the chat box. It says that if we organize an event which will last for 48 hours, okay, very nice. You're organizing a mass event and accommodation and food is included as ancillary services. Okay. It will fall under 12.7. If yes, then what about 12.3 and what about removed property? What is the location of supply and what if it is a mixed supply? Firstly, it is a supply which is a composite supply, right? Because if it's a composite supply, then you are organizing the event and you're providing accommodation and food with the event itself. If it is a composite supply, then you will see the place of supply for the principal supply. Okay. So if you're providing an event which has accommodation and food with it, you attend the event, have the food, stay there itself. It means it's a complete event. So it's not a mixed supply definitely because it's a not that you can just come and stay there and do this. So it's a composite bundle thing. So what will happen? It will fall under 12.7 because it's a composite supply. Now for a composite supply, the place of supply will be as per 12.7, which is what it says where if you're registered. So it generally happens, right? Corporate events, Microsoft conducts some events and you have to send your companies. They say that for that event. So generally we have seen that there are events organized by yourstory.com. Okay, a lot of events happen, corporate events, where they say that for 2 days you have to pay 30,000 rupees, everything is covered. So when you send your employees for that, you are a corporate. So if you're registered, the place of supply. If you're not registered, if you're registered, then where you are registered at. If you're not registered, then the place of supply will be the location where this event is conducted. Okay. But if it is a mixed supply, it can't be a mixed supply because it's not bundled together. Okay, it's not like if it is separate supply for the event, it is separate for the food, it is separate for accommodation. If it is separate, if you want, you can pick and choose. Then for organizing an event, 12.7, for accommodation, 12.3, each of those services will be separately charged. What is the difference between composite and mixed supply? Are bapre, very, very late question. We have discussed on this. What is a composite supply? In our supply chapter itself, we have discussed. Please watch that recording again. Composite supply is one where all the services are bundled together and naturally bundled. It's not artificially bundled. They are bundled that when you're going for an event, you can't say that no, I will not pay for the stay charges. They'll say if you don't pay, it's okay. If you don't stay, it's okay, but you have to pay for the whole package. Then it is example of a composite supply. But if it is a mixed supply, saying that you can pick and choose either this or that, but we are mixing this and giving it to you, then that's a mixed supply. So mixed supply is one where the multiple services are bundled artificially. They are not naturally bundled. That is a mixed supply, but composite supply, it is naturally bundled. Next question is of Hardik Marwa. One small clarification. If the question does not specify the exact assumption of check-in and check-out, then can we take our own assumptions like in usual case scenario, the check-in are 12 p.m. and check-out? They will generally give because that clarity has to be given. If that is not been given, then you can consider per night basis because the rules say that it has to be considered per night basis. So you can take it on a per night basis. How much nights they have stayed, that you have to consider. Okay. So organizing an event, we are here. So if it is to a registered person, then the no problem itself. Even if it is in multiple states, the place of supply will be always the location of the recipient. But when it comes to unregistered person, that's where the problem starts. In that case, the generally accepted accounting principle, which will more or less be set, it will be in respect of the state itself where it is consumed. Now 12.7 is over. 12.8 says in case of transportation of goods, including mail or courier services. So what happens in case of transporting of goods? So this will apply to whom? Who is the courier agency? Who is delivering documents for him? This will apply. Now, what will be the place of supply for their services? The place of supply of services by way of transportation of goods, including by mail or courier, when it is provided to a registered person, is the location of such person. Okay, be careful. This is very, very critical. It says that where the place of supply is by way of transportation of goods, including by mail or courier, provided to a registered person, is the location of such person. It doesn't say where you are given the goods or something. Okay, very, very bad drawing, I would say. This is very important. It says the location of such person. Where such person is located, that is the place of supply. Location of recipient, correct. Location of such person means location of the person who is giving the service, not necessarily recipient. Recipient of service, जैसे I am giving some goods to the courier agency. भैया ये 10 documents है. You courier it to my customers. One is in Kolkata, one is in Delhi, one is in Punjab, one is in Haryana. इन सब का चार्जेस आप साथ में मुझे बिल कर देना. Okay. So in that case, will he charge IGST because he's courier to Delhi, because he's courier to Mumbai, because he's courier to Kolkata? No. The place of supply of service, who is the service receiver, actual receipt of the courier is that person whom it is being couriered. But the service is being received by me. Again, I'm saying the recipient is the person who pays the consideration. Since I am paying the consideration, I am receiving the service. So the location of such person who is paying the consideration, who is receiving the service, not receiving the courier, who is receiving the service is the recipient. So the location of such person here means the location of the recipient. So if I am a person who is giving this courier document, I'm telling him to bill it to me, right? Then it is the location of this person who's providing this payment to him. So courier company is in Bangalore. I am also in Bangalore. I will tell him, please bill to me. So he will charge me CGST, SGST. However, so that is in case of a registered person. But if it is a unregistered person, so this is provided to a registered person. Now, where the services are provided to an unregistered person, okay, if it is provided to a unregistered person, if it is provided to an unregistered person, then the place of supply of service is the location at which the goods are handed over for transportation. The place where the goods are handed over for their transportation. Not delivered, where they are handed over. So I was a registered person, example. Now my neighbor was unregistered. He goes to the courier company and he hands over those documents, says him to courier it. So what will be the place of supply for such goods? This person is handing over in Bangalore. So the place of supply will be Karnataka, CGST, STST will charge. Now, if that unregistered person is having a branch elsewhere and that branch hands over the goods to him, but he says, bill it to me. So where are the goods handed over? The goods are handed over in another state. So the place of supply will be that state. Okay. Clear? So in case where it is registered person, the location of the recipient, where it is unregistered person, then the location place of supply will be the location where the goods are handed over and where the goods are transported outside India. Okay, this is a very, very exceptional case. Wherever we said export is happening, then they will try to bring into the recipient's place. But in this case, they have said where the location of the goods are transported outside India, then the destination of such goods is the place of supply. Which means if you are sending something outside India, okay, then the place of supply will be the destination of such goods, which is outside India. And if it is outside India, will GST be charged? It will not be charged because location of supplier is in India, place of supply is outside India. So then it becomes export. GST will not be chargeable. Only for goods, this is the exception. ये पॉइंट्स हम डायग्राम करके समझा देते हैं. वेरी गुड आइडिया.
Yeah. Unfortunately,
Okay. Service in terms of हम नया स्लाइड ही ले लेंगे. That will be better. Okay. So now we have three scenarios here, which we will discuss. First is on 12.8. Basically, 12.8 is in case of transportation of goods, courier services. Generally, courier ही होगा because that is the agency which will charge GST for you. Now, if this person is providing to a registered person, जब कोरियर वाला रजिस्टर्ड पर्सन को प्रोवाइड कर रहा है, द प्लेस ऑफ सप्लाई क्या होगा? प्लेस ऑफ सप्लाई होगा जहां पर रजिस्टर्ड पर्सन लोकेटेड है. रजिस्टर्ड पर्सन प्लेस विल बी द प्लेस ऑफ सप्लाई. क्लियर? अगर ये अनरजिस्टर्ड पर्सन को प्रोवाइड करता है, if it is the courier person is providing service to a unregistered person, because they will just give the courier and go off, so he cannot find out what is the place of supply. So the unregistered person providing courier services, so a person providing service to a unregistered person, the place of supply will be where the goods are handed over. That is the place of supply. Now, when the for both the cases, if the goods for both registered and unregistered, now registered and unregistered, when the goods are transported outside India, then the place of supply will be destination of the goods. मतलब goods कहाँ पर पहुंचता है, that will be the place of supply. Clear? Aditya Sinha, I'm not able to see your messages. Is third case exempted? Yes. If the place of supply is outside India, then it is export of service. It will be zero rated supply. Your service provider is courier company. Correct. You're right. There was a second part in my question. Will the check-in date and check-out date included in stay in hotel only? Yes, that date will be considered as the stay in hotel only. Supplier of goods and courier services both. Okay. First case, courier sender is place of supply, not the courier sender, bhai. First case is the location of such person. Such person का मतलब courier company नहीं है. The place of supply of services by way of transportation of goods provided to a registered person is the location of such person. It will not become the supplier. अगर supplier का ही place हो जाता तो फिर वो general rule में डाल देते ना. So they are not put it in the general rule, they are put under specific rule. Such person will not mean the person, the place of supply provided to a registered person. किसको कहा है? Registered person. So such person will mean to such registered person. So registered person का location कहाँ पे है? That will become the place of supply. रिसीवर, जो रिसीवर है, जो पेमेंट कर रहा है, that उसका प्लेस ऑफ that location will become the place of supply. हैंड ओवर किया वो पर्सन रजिस्टर्ड होना चाहिए क्या? जरूरी नहीं है वीरेंद्र कि जिसने हैंड ओवर किया उसको रजिस्टर करना कंपलसरी नहीं. ठीक है, अगर आप रजिस्टर्ड हो तो फिर आपको ही बेनिफिट रहेगा. इफ यू आर अनरजिस्टर्ड फिर आपको उसका क्रेडिट नहीं मिलेगा. सो इफ यू आर रजिस्टर्ड, गिव योर जीएसटी नंबर टू द कोरियर एजेंसी, देन ही विल गिव यू अ बिल विद द जीएसटी नंबर, तो फिर उसका क्रेडिट आपको मिल सकता है. ओके. In all subsections where the place of supply is the location of such person who is registered is the person who is service receiver. Correct. In all such person, it is the service receiver. The wordings are in a legal manner. इसीलिए wherever I am able to clarify, I am clarifying it for you. Clear? Next, 12(9), which is for passenger transport services. Okay. Passenger transport services में क्या होता है? Where the providing passenger transport services where the location recipient is registered, again location of the recipient. Such person की जगह location of recipient लिख दिया गया है. 12(9), the wording also I will read out for you. Location of the recipient specifically लिखा है इसमें. So where the recipient is located, that is the place of supply. For both, there could be two types: passenger transport services or issue of right to passage for future use, and the point of boarding is not known at the time of issue of right to passage. Right to passage का मतलब क्या हुआ? First is passenger transportation, हमने समझ लिया है. Passenger transport मतलब जो भी आप transportation करते हैं, बस का सर्विस हो गया, ट्रेन का सर्विस होगा, जो टिकट लेते हैं उसका जीएसटी जो चार्ज करते हैं, वो उसका प्लेस ऑफ सप्लाई क्या होगा? इफ द रिसिपिएंट इज रजिस्टर्ड, देन द लोकेशन ऑफ रिसिपिएंट. सेकेंड सर्विसेज, वो पैसेंजर एक टिकट नहीं लेता है, बोलता है आप मुझे 10 टिकट दे दीजिए. ओके. इसमें से क्या होता है, जनरली क्या होता है, बस वगैरह में सीजनल टिकट देते हैं, सेइंग दैट विल गिव यू 10 सीजनल टिकट्स, आप कहीं पर भी सफर कर सकते हो. ठीक है. So when they give the seasonal ticket, you have a right to passage for future use, and the point of boarding आज आपको पता नहीं है क्योंकि आपने टिकट ऑफर में ले लिया है, लेकिन आप एक डेस्टिनेशन दूसरे डेस्टिनेशन जा सकते हो. तो अगर एक रजिस्टर्ड बंदा लेता है, तब प्लेस ऑफ सप्लाई विल ऑलवेज बी द लोकेशन ऑफ द रिसिपिएंट. करेक्ट. बट इन केस रिसिपिएंट अनरजिस्टर्ड है, then the location where the passenger embarks on the conveyance for a continuous journey. जैसे कोरियर में जहां पे हम गुड्स देते हैं, अनरजिस्टर्ड पर्सन हैंड ओवर करता है, दैट इज द प्लेस ऑफ सप्लाई. उसी तरह जहां पे पैसेंजर ट्रांसपोर्टेशन है, where the passenger embarks, where the passenger boards the train, where the passenger boards the bus, where the passenger boards the container, where the passenger boards the vessel, that is the place of supply. If the recipient is unregistered, then the location where the passenger embarks on the conveyance, that is the place of supply, where the passenger embarks the conveyance for a continuous journey. Okay. Now if the second case में जहां पे right to passage दे दिया, जब आप फ्यूचर में यूज करोगे, if the address of the unregistered person is available, क्योंकि यहां पर जब आप सफर करोगे तब हम डिसाइड करेंगे, ये नहीं कर सकते हैं, क्योंकि व्हाट इज द टाइम ऑफ सप्लाई इन केस ऑफ सर्विसेज? सर्विसेज के केस में टाइम ऑफ सप्लाई क्या है? मेट्रो कार्ड इज लाइक राइट टू पैसेज. यस, यू कुड से दैट डेफिनेटली. What is the difference between continuous journey and normal journey? Continuous journey is when you're going from one place to another place, और वहां से one more another train you have to catch up, or from one place to another place you're going, and from there you have to catch another bus. That is called as continuous journey. जिस सबका फेयर एक ही साथ ले लिया गया है, उसे कहते हैं continuous journey. Normal journey is you are going from place A to place B, और वहां पे उतर रहे हो. That is a normal journey. Bus pass, metro pass, all of this are good example. So now you tell me, what is the time of supply for supply of a service? embarking a conveyance means boarding a conveyance. जब आप ट्रेन पे चढ़ते हो उसे कहते हैं embarking a conveyance. या मेरा क्वेश्चन मुझे लगता है यू नॉट अंडरस्टूड कि व्हाट इज द when will you pay GST for provision of service? When the service is rendered, then it is time of supply. Okay. Okay. Normally, what you're saying is right. When the service is provided, that is the time of supply. ठीक है, समझ गए. अब goods के केस में time of supply क्या होगा? When goods are received. जनरल सर्विस पूछ रहा हूँ भावना, नॉट ओनली फॉर दिस, जनरल सर्विस के लिए पूछ रहा हूँ. एनी सर्विस. when the goods are ready for supply or when the goods are supplied and invoice is raised. ठीक है, that is normal case. अभी सपोज समझ लीजिए आपने कॉन्ट्रैक्ट लिया है 100 मोबाइल फोन्स बेचने का एंड द सप्लायर सेज टू सेल यू 100 आई नीड टू मैन्युफैक्चर इट, यू गिव मी एडवांस. तो जब वो एडवांस देगा तब क्या आप उस एडवांस पे जीएसटी पे करोगे? फॉर मोबाइल केस फर्स्ट. You will not pay. So somebody is saying, okay, you'll pay. No, when I raise invoice, then I will pay GST. We won't pay GST over advance. ठीक है. So we didn't do any sales, so nothing. ठीक है, वो टाइम ऑफ सप्लाई में आप और डिटेल में पढ़ेंगे. लेकिन सर्विस आप प्रोवाइड करते हो उसके लिए आप एडवांस लेते हो, so then will you pay GST or no? Right? In case of service, we pay GST in advance. ये तो ना इंसाफी होगी. आप गुड्स बेच रहे हो तब आप बोल रहे हो नहीं पे करेंगे, लेकिन सर्विस प्रोवाइड करते हो तब आप बोल रहे हो पे करेंगे. In this case also, in don't pay tax. Service is hard to track, so yes. Okay. So the time of supply provision actually says the time of supply for goods or services in both the cases when you are raising a invoice or receipt of advance, whichever is earlier. ठीक है. So the time of supply में हम detail में पढ़ेंगे, but for your understanding how to link that and this, time of supply says time of supply is the time when the service are actually performed or receipt of advance, whichever is earlier. So if you have received advance, then also you have to pay GST. You cannot say that I have received advance and service is not completed or service is not provided. That cannot be said. When the advance is received, it is received for the service which you will provide. And if you go to chapter 7, section 7 and understand supply, supply is to be provided, is provided or actually to be provided. Okay. So whenever we receive advance and supply is made later on, GST is payable as a time of supply, that when you receive advance also GST is payable. ओके. बट गुड्स के केस में एक्सेप्शन कर दिया गया. उन्होंने एक नोटिफिकेशन लेके आ गए, नोटिफिकेशन नंबर 66 विच सेज दैट नोटिफिकेशन 66 में उन्होंने कह दिया कि आप सप्लाई ऑफ गुड्स कर रहे हो तो फिर आपको एडवांस पे करने की जरूरत नहीं है, क्योंकि जब भी आप डिलीवर करोगे तब आप जीएसटी पे कर देना, लेकिन एडवांस पे करने की जरूरत नहीं है. बट इन केस ऑफ सर्विसेज दैट एग्जेम्पशन इज नॉट देयर. So in case of services, the time of supply still continues as actual provision of service or receipt of advance, whichever is earlier. Okay. When partly service provided, we pay full GST, whether full service rendered or not. Whatever, if you're providing part service, Manoj, you will raise invoice for that part service itself. Right? And when you're receiving advance, 1 lakh is the value what you have agreed. You have received advance of 30,000 rupees. So you'll pay GST on 30,000, not on the whole 1 lakh. So if you're receiving advance, to the extent of advance, you will pay the GST. But why GST on advance in case of services? Because अगर पैसा आ गया, सर्विस नहीं प्रोवाइड करोगे या सर्विस का आप भूल गए इनवॉइस लेना, तो फिर गवर्नमेंट को रेवेन्यू कब जाएगा? So that's why the time of supply has decided that in case आप advance आ रहा है, then you have to pay the GST on advance also. Clear? So whenever there is any provision of services, the time of supply is receipt of advance. Correct? तो फिर उसको अभी यहाँ पे कनेक्ट कीजिए. Then you will get the logic that in case of issue of right to passage for future use, इसमें क्या हो रहा है? सर्विस तो प्रोवाइड नहीं कर रहे हैं, लेकिन अमाउंट एडवांस में आ रहा है. मतलब टाइम ऑफ सप्लाई तो ट्रिगर हो गया है. करेक्ट? सो यू आर गिविंग हिम अ राइट टू पैसेज, बट एक्चुअल में सर्विस प्रोवाइड नहीं कर रहे हो. फिर भी क्या हो गया है? इवेंट तो यहाँ पे ट्रिगर हो गया है दैट यू विल पे जीएसटी. तो अगर जीएसटी एडवांस में पे करना है, तो फिर प्लेस ऑफ सप्लाई भी डिसाइड करना है. टाइम ऑफ सप्लाई, प्लेस ऑफ सप्लाई, वैल्यू ऑफ सप्लाई, ये तीन चीजें डिटरमाइन करेंगे तभी जीएसटी पे करेंगे. करेक्ट? सो यू हैव गिवन हिम वाउचर्स, ठीक है, फॉर 10 जर्नी सीजनल टिकट, वैल्यूज आपने कलेक्ट कर लिया है. नाउ टाइम ऑफ सप्लाई इज ट्रिगर्ड. व्हाट इज द प्लेस ऑफ सप्लाई? प्लेस ऑफ सप्लाई इज अगर आपके पास जो जिसने खरीदा है और वो अनरजिस्टर्ड है. करेक्ट? अब if the address of the unregistered person is available in the records, then the location of such unregistered person is the place of supply. In all other cases, the location of the supplier of services. जैसे कोई टिकट खरीदता है, उसका एड्रेस कभी कभी फॉर्म फिल करते हैं, कभी फॉर्म नहीं फिल करता है, तो फिर the location of supplier of service itself becomes the place of supply. Pallavi, later on, say you have received advance and later on you don't provide the service, then you have to say refund of the amount and reverse the GST. ठीक है? या फिर एडवांस पे आप सर्विस कर रहे हुए तब इनवॉइस रेज करोगे, देन टू रिवर्स दैट यू हैव टू रेज अ क्रेडिट नोट. Okay, we'll go for one more service, then we'll go to the MCQ because it looks like I'm really tired today. Before getting into telecommunication service, we'll go to TEL 10 service supplied on board or conveyance, then we can go to MCQs. Okay. So 12.9, that is a passenger transport service. Very clear. If the location of, if it is to a registered person, then the location of recipient. If the recipient is unregistered, then the location where the passenger embarks on the conveyance for a continuous journey. And if the address of the unregistered person is for a package ticket, where a right to passage is there, then if it is to an unregistered person, जहाँ पे address available है, location of such unregistered person, and in all other cases, location of supplier of service. 12.10 says services supplied on board of conveyance. ये तो हमने supply of goods में ही cover कर लिया है, where goods can be supplied on board of conveyance and your service is supplied on board of conveyance. तो सर्विसेज सप्लाइड ऑन बोर्ड कन्वेंस का एग्जांपल भी हमने देखा है कि जब आप फ्लाइट में जा रहे हो और आप म्यूजिक सर्विस ले रहे हो, ठीक है, या फिर सम अदर वॉचिंग ऑफ अ मूवी सर्विस ले रहे हो जिसके लिए आप पे कर रहे हो, जब आप हवा में उड़ रहे हो तब उसका प्लेस ऑफ सप्लाई क्या होगा, वेयर द लोकेशन ऑफ द शेड फर्स्ट शेड्यूल्ड पॉइंट ऑफ डिपार्चर, जहां से वो कन्वेयंस का फर्स्ट डिपार्चर पॉइंट है, दैट विल बी द प्लेस ऑफ सप्लाई. ओके, so the location of the first scheduled point of departure, not from where you are boarding. There is a difference between boarding and departure. फ्लाइट चला था जम्मू से दिल्ली, दिल्ली से बैंगलोर, ठीक है, कनेक्टिंग फ्लाइट था, आप दिल्ली से चढ़े हो, तो अगर आप दिल्ली से बैंगलोर म्यूजिक सुनते हो तो फिर प्लेस ऑफ सप्लाई क्या होगा? दिल्ली. फिर से मेरा क्वेश्चन तो करेक्ट था ना? फ्लाइट चली है जम्मू से दिल्ली, दिल्ली से बैंगलोर, ठीक है, आप चढ़े हो दिल्ली में, दिल्ली में म्यूजिक सुनते हो बैंगलोर पहुंचते वक्त, तो इसका प्लेस ऑफ सप्लाई क्या होगा? अभी आ गए हैं सब लोग, आ गए लाइन पे, वेरी नाइस. So place of supply will be Jammu, not the place where you are onboarding, because it says location of the first scheduled point of departure of that conveyance. उस conveyance का scheduled route क्या है, ठीक है, that will be the place of supply for services supplied. This is different from goods supplied on board. For goods, the which are supplied on board or conveyance, the place of supply will be the location at which such goods are taken on board. ठीक है, उसी फ्लाइट में आपने पाव भाजी खा ली, पाव भाजी चढ़ाया कहाँ से? जम्मू से नहीं चढ़ा था, दिल्ली से ऑन बोर्डिंग किया था, तो फिर उस पाव भाजी का प्लेस ऑफ सप्लाई विल बी दिल्ली, बट म्यूजिक का प्लेस ऑफ सप्लाई विल बी जम्मू. ठीक है, इस 12.10 में फ्लाइट में आप याद रख लिया, ऑन बोर्ड कन्वेंस एनी फ्लाइट में चढ़ने वाले को रजिस्टर्ड अनरजिस्टर्ड में डिफरेंशिएट नहीं किया गया. ठीक है, एक बार और 12.10 बताना. माही, क्वेश्चन क्या है आपका? कैन यू अनम्यूट? ट्वेल्व टेन ये बताता है कि आप जब सर्विसेज लेते हो ऑन बोर्ड कन्वेयंस, फ्लाइट का मैंने बता ही दिया है, आप फिर से रिकॉर्डिंग सुन लेना. अब एग्जाम्पल चेंज कर देता हूं कि आप ट्रेन में जा रहे हो, ठीक है, आप शताब्दी में जा रहे हो, अज्यूम कर लीजिए शताब्दी में या वंदे भारत में एक नया सर्विस प्रोवाइड कर दिया। फ्लाइट का टिकट तो आप ले ही रहे हो, टिकट का सर्विस का प्लेस ऑफ बोर्डिंग ही हो जाएगा प्लेस ऑफ सप्लाई। करेक्ट। एंड इफ इट इज टू रजिस्टर्ड पर्सन जहां पे आप प्रोवाइड करते हो। ठीक है, फर्स्ट हम टिकटिंग का ले लेते हैं, एक मिनट। आप सफर कर रहे हो ट्रेन से, तो फिर ट्रेन का पैसेंजर ट्रांसपोर्ट सर्विस अगर आप रजिस्टर्ड हो, लोकेशन ऑफ द रिसिपिएंट। करेक्ट। और अगर आप अनरजिस्टर्ड हो, अब जहां से चढ़ रहे हो दैट बिकम द प्लेस ऑफ सप्लाई फॉर द टिकट। अब आपने टिकट ले लिया, आप अंदर बैठ गए हो। ठीक है। आप फर्स्ट इस केस में कहाँ से चढ़ रहे हो, आप दिल्ली से चढ़ रहे हो। दिल्ली से आपकी सफर शुरू होती है और आप अनरजिस्टर्ड हो, देन आपका प्लेस ऑफ सप्लाई दिल्ली हो जाएगा, बिकॉज यू आर अनरजिस्टर्ड लोकेशन वे द पैसेंजर एम्बार्क्स अ जर्नी। मतलब कहाँ से आपका सफर शुरू करते हो दैट बिकम द प्लेस ऑफ सप्लाई। ठीक है। नाउ आप दिल्ली का सफर हो, आप ले रहे हो टिकट हरियाणा में। ठीक है, फिर भी आपका प्लेस ऑफ सप्लाई क्या होगा, दिल्ली ही होगा, बिकॉज फॉर अनरजिस्टर्ड पर्सन द प्लेस ऑफ सप्लाई इज वेयर द पैसेंजर एम्बार्क्स। कहां से आप चढ़ोगे दैट इज द प्लेस ऑफ सप्लाई। अब आप वंदे भारत में चढ़ गए हो, दिल्ली से आपको मुंबई आना है। ठीक है, लेकिन ट्रेन जो है ना, दिल्ली से नहीं शुरू हो रही है। ट्रेन जो शुरू हो रही है कलकत्ता से आ रही है, कलकत्ता से दिल्ली होके मुंबई जा रही है। तो फिर आप जब दिल्ली से मुंबई पहुंच रहे हो, तब आईआरसीटीसी ने एक सेवा नई शुरू की है, भारत दर्शन। कि आप उसको टीवी में भारत दर्शन देख सकते हो, उसके लिए आपको 50 रुपीज पे करना है। तो आप वो जो 50 रुपीज पे करके वो भारत दर्शन का सर्विस ले रहे हो, उसका प्लेस ऑफ सप्लाई क्या होगा, उसका प्लेस ऑफ सप्लाई होगा प्लेस ऑफ फर्स्ट शेड्यूल पॉइंट ऑफ डिपार्चर। मतलब दिल्ली नहीं होगा, उसका प्लेस ऑफ सप्लाई होगा कोलकाता। ठीक है, कोलकाता होगा उसका प्लेस ऑफ सप्लाई। अब अ, वंदे भारत में खाना तो वही देते हैं, लेकिन आपने क्या किया, आपने एक्स्ट्रा कुछ खाना ऑर्डर किया है। ठीक है, फॉर द गुड्स व्हाट इज सप्लाइड ऑन बोर्ड अ कन्वेंस, या फिर वंदे भारत में समझ लीजिए कि उन्होंने छोटा एक ट्रेन बेचा है, तो फिर फॉर दैट सप्लाई ऑफ गुड्स ऑन बोर्ड अ कन्वेंस उसका प्लेस ऑफ सप्लाई होगा जहां से उसकी चढ़ाई हुई थी। अब अगर उसकी चढ़ाई दिल्ली से हुई थी तो फिर प्लेस ऑफ सप्लाई दिल्ली होगा। ठीक है, दैट इज व्हाट इज 1210। 12:8 Pallavi, I will read the material and I will tell you on what basis I'm saying, so that if there's any amendment, I'll highlight it. Sir, I have a good example for 12:9 and 12:10. I am an unregistered person. I take train ticket from Delhi for 12:9 and 12:10. Passenger transport service. Ticketing का है और ये है. So what is your question? If I have a good example for 12:9 and 12:10, I am an unregistered person. I take train ticket from Delhi and embark from Delhi. And now the train starts from Punjab to Mumbai. I take Sona service in train. Okay. And the place of supply will be Punjab. Correct. Because in case of services is the where the train starts. And I eat food in train, then place of supply will be Delhi because it was taken on board from Delhi. Correct. ओके, थोड़े एमसीक्यूज फॉर प्लेस ऑफ सप्लाई ऑफ सर्विसेज देखते हैं, बिकॉज दीज आर ऑल जनरल सर्विसेज, तो यू मे गेट कंफ्यूज्ड, सो हम लोग स्पेसिफिक सर्विसेज ही लेते हैं. Okay. Mr. P of Mumbai is an interior decorator. Now, what is the place of supply in this case? श्लोक बोल रहे हैं ऑप्शन ए. In case of immobile property, the place of supply is where the location of flat, that is where the service is performed, that is not where the service is performed, नहीं वो गलत हो जाएगा, where the immobile property is located. Correct? Location of the flat, that is Mumbai. That is the correct answer. Answer is B. Mega Events, an event company at New Delhi, organizes an award function for shard diamond merchants of Ahmedabad at Mumbai. Determine the place of supply. Place of registered supply, which is Ahmedabad. Correct. So answer is Ahmedabad. Mr. Alex is a chartered accountant. He's practicing in Jaipur. Now he's undergone surgery in Chennai, for which this hit hires services of a senior doctor from USA. What is the place of supply? Because the hospital, not the hospital, hospital can be at a place where the services are actually performed. Okay. So where the service are actually performed in Chennai. Even though the doctor is coming from USA, the place of supply is where the service is actually performed. The service are actually performed in a Chennai-based hospital. So the place of supply will be Chennai. Frame a question. Can you please frame a case study based place of supply question like theory extra question. Okay, I'll try to do that. Mr. X is traveling from Delhi. So this we discussed. Please answer this very simple. Oh God, even here I'm seeing varied answer. Why is there still confusion with this question? Few people are saying C, few people are saying A. So in case of services provided on board a conveyance, the place of supply is the location of the first schedule point of departure. Simple. So the first schedule point of departure is Delhi. So the place of supply is Delhi itself. Okay. Why is somebody saying C Delhi being the location where the passenger embarks? Are people still confused with 5C? Neha, why are you saying C? Kasak, you are also saying first schedule point. It is where the location of the first schedule point of departure, A itself, not where the passenger embarks on the journey. Okay. So I have other questions, but they are all related to other services. So I will not take those up. Any other questions? Yes, Virender
Sir,
Sharma.
yes, sir. I don't understand 12.8 का first case, sir.
12.
Yes. 12.8 first case. In this case, I am giving an example, sir. You can clear my. I am sent a courier agency to give to you a courier. So, sir, I am registered to. I am place of supply. My place is place of supply or your.
No, in case of courier agency, are you are a courier agency. Now, when a courier agency provides service to a registered person, then it is the place of supply of that registered person. If it
Yes.
is a unregistered person, then the place of handover is the place of supply.
मतलब कि सर जिसने ये कुरियर दिया है वो रजिस्टर्ड होना चाहिए। अगर वो रजिस्टर्ड नहीं है तो वो हैंडओवर होगा, वो प्लेस होगा जो प्लेस ऑफ सप्लाई होगा।
करेक्ट करेक्ट।
तो आउटसाइड इंडिया में होगा तो जो रिसिपिएंट होगा जहाँ पर वो पहुंचा होगा वो प्लेस होगा प्लेस ऑफ सप्लाई।
करेक्ट।
ओके सर, क्लियर सर। ये इसके अंदर बहुत ज्यादा प्रॉब्लम हो रही थी सर। थैंक यू।
Okay. Thank you very much. Good night. We'll see you again on next Tuesday. Goods